YouTube. How we doing, family? It's your boy Yo Hoops. And this is another episode of Fading the Public. We go through every NBA game every day. Today's January 15th, 2025, and we have an 11 game NBA card. Big card today. I'll walk you through every game, tell you what I like, and I have one highlighted play. We look for the run to continue. Without further ado, let me get into the recap. Recapping yesterday, we had one highlighted play of the day and we cashed again, guys. We're on an absolute heater. 13-1 run. We've hit our last 9 highlighted plays in a row. On absolute fire. We took the Oklahoma City Thunder minus the 10.5 points against the Philadelphia 76ers. It got a little sweaty in the fourth quarter. The Sixers made it like a 3-point game, but the Thunder ended up cashing. I told y'all, I threw it on the wall for a reason. OKC goes crazy. We look to continue, guys. I got another banger for you today. On all of my highlighted plays this year, I'm now 20-5, and that's ATS and taking plus money dogs. So we're up insane. At this point, up 14.6 units. If you bet $100 on every game, you're up $1,400 or even more than that. I'm personally up thousands of dollars to start the new year. I'm here every day doing it for free, guys. All I ask is a like and subscribe from you guys. And let me get into today's video. In our first matchup, we have the New York Knicks in Philadelphia taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Knicks are laying 6 points and the total is 219.5. We know the Sixers injury report is still super concerning. They're coming off a back-to-back here, so I can't imagine it getting much better for them. When I look at it, Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid are all questionable. It looks like Joel Embiid can go here, so definitely keep an eye on the IR. Caleb Martin is ruled out. For the Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns is questionable and Jalen Brunson is probable. You guys know how I feel about Brunson. He's my favorite player on the Knicks, so definitely keep an eye on that. But he is probable, so he should go. I have to keep an eye on the injury report myself. I can't necessarily jump into a bet not knowing who's going to go in this one. But with how poorly the Sixers have played, I have to roll with the Knicks in this spot. They're horrible at home. So I'm going to take the Knicks minus the 6 points as our first selection of the night. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Boston Celtics in Toronto taking on the Toronto Raptors. Celtics are laying 13.5 points and the total is 230.5. We know Boston's one of the best teams in the league, but this big spread, it definitely makes me nervous. The 13.5. We know Toronto's been real good at covering numbers this year. Boston is 8-7-1 as road favorite. So they haven't been world beating, but they've been decent. That's impressive to me considering they're a big market team. I mean, you've still been profitable laying points with Boston. Toronto as home underdogs, they're 12-5-1 this season. So they've been absolutely killing it, running up the bag. Like I said, they like to cover. I think this is just a reversion to the mean spot, though. The Celtics are the way superior team. And in their last matchup, when I look at it, the Celtics won 125-71 the last time the Raptors and Celtics played. That's a 54-point win. I think that the Celtics are going to cover this. I don't think the Raptors are going to cover every spread at home. So give me the Celtics laying the 13.5 points. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Atlanta Hawks in Chicago taking on the Chicago Bulls. Bulls are laying 2 points and the total is 244. That's a high total. This is a tough game for me to analyze because both teams are coming off back-to-backs. I like what I saw from the Hawks yesterday beating the Suns. We had the Hawks in that one. But I think the Bulls are due for a bounce back. I know we took the Pelicans yesterday and we were able to cash against the Bulls. But I don't know. It's tough. I can't really take a side here. When I look at it, these are two teams that play absolutely zero defense. I feel like every Bulls game I see, the total is like 270. Then when I look at the last two meetings between these teams, the totals were 258 and 274. So I think this game is an absolute track meet. I'm going to take the over 244 in Chicago and Atlanta, but I'm not in love with this one. This is a tough game for me to look at. Let's move forward. In our next matchup, we have the Dallas Mavericks in New Orleans taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Mavs are laying 3 points and the total is 226. This is another game where both of the teams are on back to backs. Both Dallas and New Orleans played yesterday. I took both of them, and the Pelicans ended up cashing. The Mavs absolutely let down. They looked super disappointing to say the least against the Nuggets yesterday. They were getting ran out of the gym. I know the Nuggets were playing good. Jamal Murray was on fire, but still, when I look at Dallas in that game, they shot 42% from the field and 28% from three. So while the Nuggets were playing good, it's not like they were locking up and Dallas could not score the ball. This is a spot to me where the Mavs should lock in, but after what I saw yesterday, I absolutely can't trust them. The Pelicans have covered their spread in the last 3 games they've played, and I like the way they're rolling. I'm taking the Pelicans plus the 3 points as my next selection of tonight. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Memphis Grizzlies in San Antonio taking on the San Antonio Spurs. Grizzlies are laying 3 points, and the total is 239. I think this is going to be a good game. Both of these teams have been playing well recently, and I think it's going to come down to the wire in this one. I like the backcourt for Memphis way more. I mean, Ja Morant and Desmond Bane are absolute killers. I don't like any of the guards on the Spurs, I can't lie to you. But then when I look at San Antonio, obviously their front court, and I mean, let me be more specific, Wemby, in my opinion, he's the best player on the floor in this game. So it makes it a little tough for me. Both teams have obviously started to find their stride. But in this one, I think that the presence of Zach Edey, even though he's not going to hoop out or anything like that, he's a real big man presence. And I think he can slow Wemby down just enough for the Grizzlies to get the win here. I still think Wembanyama has a huge game, so I'll definitely look at his points and rebounds props once they come out for tomorrow. But I have to roll with the Grizzlies. I think they can slow them down just enough, and then the guards on Memphis are just far dominant. So we're taking the Grizzlies minus the 3 points. Moving forward. In our next matchup, we have the Orlando Magic in Milwaukee taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. Bucks are laying 6 points, and the total is 210.5. So real low total. They're thinking it's going to be a low scoring game in this one. Paolo is back for the Magic, and that's huge, obviously. He's the engine, the motor for that Orlando team, even though they've been able to hoop without him, surprisingly. So it's good to see him added back into the lineup. I like how the Bucks played yesterday against the Kings. They absolutely dismantled them. But I was surprised to see I was watching that game and it looked like all of the Bucks stars were playing like late in the fourth quarter. And they were up 30 points, so I don't understand why they would waste their energy in that spot. When I look at it, Giannis played 33 minutes yesterday and Dame played 35. So even though they blew out the Kings, this back to back is still going to affect them here. In my opinion, I think the line tells you everything you need to know. This +6. Orlando has been hooping with Paolo, so it's not too surprising to see for me. But in their last 3 matchups between the Magic and the Bucks, the Magic have covered this 6 point line in all 3 games. And one of those games was in Milwaukee, mind you, like this one. I think honestly, the Magic win this game outright. We're taking this as our highlighted play of the day. We're taking the Orlando Magic plus the 6 points. Make sure you sprinkle some on the money line, though, because they're going to get the win here. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Charlotte Hornets in Utah taking on the Utah Jazz. Hornets are laying 5.5 points, and the total is 222. The Jazz injury report looks crazy in this game. So we already know that the Jazz are without Keontae George, Jordan Clarkson, and John Collins. But now you add Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton to the IR. So the Jazz are basically missing all of their players, all of their stars, just Walker Kessler and the G League team here. The Hornets come into this game. I'm looking at their injury report. They have a clean IR. I don't know. The Hornets are 0-2 this season as road favorites. So when they're laying points on the road in this spot, they're 0-2. But I think they stack their first ATS win on the road here. The Hornets are healthy. The Jazz are an absolute shell of themselves. I want to give this out as a highlighted play of the day. We're going to pass on it, but I really like the Hornets laying the 5.5 points here. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Houston Rockets in Denver taking on the Denver Nuggets. Rockets are laying 1 point, and the total is 231. In any game that Joker is playing, the Rockets should not be favored in Denver. That's already crazy to me, this line. I know the Nuggets are on a back to back and the Rockets have fresh legs, so that does give the Rockets a little bit of an edge there. But if you saw the game that Denver played against Dallas yesterday, they were hooping. Jamal Murray went crazy. Westbrook out there orchestrating the offense, and Jokic, he was kicking back, watching his team do what they do. He didn't even have to exert that much energy. So I like how Denver's been playing. They're on absolute fire. We saw Jamal score the 45 points yesterday. I gotta take the Nuggets at home here. Rockets, they could do something. They could keep it competitive, but screw that. We're rolling with the Nuggets plus the 1 point as our next selection of today. Moving forward. In our next matchup, we have the Golden State Warriors in Minnesota taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Wolves are laying 6 points and the total is 215. The IR for the Warriors is definitely concerning in this spot. So Trace Jackson Davis is questionable, Draymond Green and Kyle Anderson are questionable as well. Then when I look at the Timberwolves, they basically have a clean injury report. So the Wolves definitely have the advantage, assuming that some of the Warriors don't play, especially Draymond is the one I keep my eye on. But this game comes down for me to Minnesota laying points at home. As home favorites, the Wolves are 4-13 ATS this season. Horrible. One of the worst in the league at laying points at home. And I just don't even want to look in their direction. Though when I look at the last matchup between the Warriors and the Timberwolves, the Warriors won 113-103, and that was in Minnesota. So the Warriors have shown that they can win in this exact spot. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something similar as their last matchup. We're rolling with the Warriors plus the 6 points as our next selection of today. And make sure you take a look at that money line. I think the Warriors can genuinely win this game outright. In our next matchup, we have the Miami Heat in LA taking on the LA Lakers. Lakers are laying 5 points and the total is 217. For how much I fade the Lakers and I've been absolutely cashing the bag fading them, I'm surprised to see they're actually 7-6 ATS as home favorites. So even though it's not much, you're up a couple bucks taking the Lakers in this spot. It's surprising for me to see. When I look at Miami, Bam Adebayo is questionable. Definitely keep an eye on that because, in my opinion, he's the only big man presence that Miami has, and they absolutely need him out there. But the Heat have a more talented roster, man for man, in my opinion. And then if Bam plays, which I'm assuming he does since the line is only a 5 point line, I think that Miami wins this game. I'm a LeBron fan. Hey, I love LeBron, but I don't think he can carry the Lakers anymore. He can't carry the whole team. We see that the Lakers are trying to make some trade moves to bolster their lineup and give themselves a shot this year in the playoffs. But with their current construction of the lineup, I just don't trust them, and I feel like they're overrated. We're taking the Heat plus the 5, and we're also sprinkling on the money line as our next selection of tonight. Let's move. In our last and final matchup of the evening, we have the Brooklyn Nets in LA taking on the LA Clippers. Clippers are laying 14 points, and the total is 212. We know the Nets injury report is concerning. They're one of the most injured, banged up teams in the league, and they're on a back to back here. So it's not going to get much better. If anything, I would assume they're going to be missing a couple guys that were questionable yesterday that ended up going. The Clippers, this season, they're the number one team in the league ATS at home. So as home favorites, the Clippers are 8-2 this season. You haven't made more money with any team in the league. Like I told y'all earlier in the season, hey, maybe the wall's working, so that's cool to see. But 14 is a big number to lay with the Clippers, but I think it's warranted in this spot. Like I told you, they've been killing against the number this season, and the Nets coming on a back-to-back. I watched the game yesterday against Portland, and they exerted a lot of energy. It was a close game right up until the end, and it looked like they put everything they had out there to get the win. They won yesterday, but then coming into this one, I think they emptied out a lot of gas in the tank last night. I don't think the Nets have enough to compete banged up, and with the players they do have going so hard yesterday, I'm not in love with it, but we're rocking with the Clippers minus 14 as our last selection of the evening. And honestly, guys, take a look at this under 212. I couldn't give it out because we've been getting burned, absolutely smoked on the unders against the Nets. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is the game that's defensive and goes under the total. And that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. It's your boy, Yo Hoops. And we've been on absolute fire. We're going for our 10th in a row highlighted play today. We're on a 14-1 run. And on every highlighted play I've given out since starting this channel, we're 20-5. That's ATS and taking plus money dogs. Like I told you guys, I don't bet insane amounts. I don't bet hundreds of dollars on every game. And I'm up thousands of dollars to start the new year. Make sure you tap in, guys. I'm going to be here making these videos for free all year. I'm trying to get all of you in position to run up the bag. All I ask from you, leave a like and make sure you subscribe because I'm going to be putting in the work for us. Thank you so much for tuning in again. It's your boy, Yo Hoops. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.